How are you?
Hi, how are you
How are
doing?
you? How are you? I'm glad to meet you again in our office. And even though I'm the host, no, you're the host. I'm sorry, or I'm the host.
You're the host,
I'm the
obviously.
host?
Obviously.
Okay. Even though I'm the host, I give you a privilege to pick up the discussion topic today. So
You're the host in the office. I'm the host of the interview. That's the difference. So I believe we never talked about health issues related to work of our heart. I'm talking about, God forbid, heart attacks. I'm talking about strokes. I'm talking about health, all kinds of problems related to our heart. And unfortunately, I see it all over in Russian-speaking community, in general community, mainstream community. I see a lot of problems and sometimes even unfortunately death, because people do not really care about their heart condition. They do not believe it's a serious stuff until the last moment when it's too late to change anything. But from what I understand, like, of course everything related to lifestyle, and from what I know from you is like proper diet, and of course we need to walk a lot on the fresh air. But I believe the most important is to check with doctors, to do even regular checkups, no?
Well, I agree with you 100%. Basically, I don't think anybody will say that you're wrong. I don't think anybody will say that you need not to do checkups, because checkups is just checking. You're not going to do anything unless you want to. Okay, and a lot of people, they think that if they do checkup, they are committed to something. That's not true. Checkup means they just check.
How often person who feels that he or she feels okay, or how often person should check with doctor his or her health condition?
It depends on the age and the multiple things.
Every 3 months, every 6 months, once a year, I don't know.
No,
Look, every month?
If somebody doesn't have any complaints,
Serious complaints.
serious, no complaints, no family history, he is, say, 40-year-old. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, but the same 40-year-old with multiple complaints and the horrible past medical history and the family history especially, it's a totally different issue.
But if it's not a 4 years old, what's a 4 years old, 60 years old?
See, family history plays a tremendous role. Because family history can...
Now you're scaring me, because unfortunately my own father
Well, that's not my intention.
had 4 heart attacks.
That's not my intention, but
I did check, every time I check my cardiogram and stress test and whatever.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So basically, there is the time interval that fits everything.
Okay.
But what I would say that the most important thing is that the family history and the background. Who is drinking every day and smoking alcohol, he requires more frequent checkups. And who is not drinking at all, not smoking, no family history, so that requires less checkups. So what I would say that there is no specific time interval, and I think that we need to go case by case.
So you cannot say it should be like every quarter person should do checkup. You cannot say anything.
Listen, it's not going to harm. What I'm trying to give you an idea that there is no harm of checking. Unless there is invasive tests.
Also, checking what? Electrocardiogram, blood pressure, blood test. What exactly should be checked?
I think that the array of tests is determined by the history, by the complaints. Whatever is not going to hurt is always welcome, like electrocardiogram is not going to hurt. Blood test is not going to hurt. But I would stay away from supposedly angiogram very often unless it's really necessary, because it's invasive test.
Correct.
And there is a definite number of complications. So nobody wants to die because of the test. Okay. And stress test as well, by the way. Stress is not that benign as you might think. It's not like 100% safe procedure.
I had that only once in my life. Unfortunately, after my father passed away, and like I decided just in case to check everything.
Well, that's not a bad idea, but everybody has to keep in mind that that's not 100% safe procedure. If you go for a stress test, you have to have a good reason, your family history, or complaints, or change in electrical exam, or age, or something should be there. Something.
But again,
Unfortunately.
but again, I see situations when people who look at least relatively okay without any visible health problems, passing away or not passing away, but having humongous health problems because of again cardiac arrest, talking about heart attacks, talking about strokes, etc., etc. And like again, they do not look unhealthy. They look okay. All of a sudden,
They might look perfectly healthy to doctors too. Unfortunately, I have to kind of disappoint you. First of all, that's not only heart attack that can kill. That's one thing.
okay.
Another thing is that half of the heart attacks are they happen without prior notice and with perfectly healthy cardiac vessels.
Then why they're happening?
Well,
Stress?
Listen, not everybody knows exactly why it happens, but approximately
Serious stress?
about
Tragedy?
40 to 50% of heart attacks, they happen with normal coronary arteries and with normal cholesterol. So checking cholesterol and checking heart vessels, it's not an insurance policy. And it happens quite often that the patient goes to the cardiologist with chest pains. They do the stress test, they check cholesterol, they check coronary arteries, nothing in there. They say, go home, you don't have anything. And the next day, patient drops dead. And unfortunately, it happens.
Then how to prevent it, how to predict it, what should be done? At least some medical advice.
Well, I don't have answers for all your questions.
I know you don't have magic bullet, but at least some advice could be very
No,
helpful.
Let's go by this. Supposedly, patient there is a sudden cardiac death. Okay, that's first of all there are very limited ways we can figure out what happened, because it could be heart attack, which will go perfectly unnoticed, because in order to be noticed on the post-mortem, it needs about 12 hours to be noticed. So if the patient dies right away because of the heart attack, his post-mortem will be perfectly okay. Second, unstable electrical instability of the heart muscle, like very frequent cause, low magnesium. Heart becomes unstable.
But why low magnesium? What could cause low magnesium?
I'm just giving you a sense of it.
Yes.
And that's heart becomes unstable. It just stops. Nothing on post-mortem. Nobody exactly knows. Nobody can prove anything why patient died. Okay, because of heart, because of instability. But magnesium levels, sometimes as they check, sometimes they don't check. But that's a very well-known cause. And the problem with it, that unfortunately happens quite often in people who have problem absorbing magnesium, like people who is taking medications that reduces the acidity, like Nexium, Protonix, or anything like that.
So they're taking medication to treat another disease.
Right. So patient nowadays they made omeprazole over the counter. So what happens is that nobody exactly checking what the patient is doing. He's taking omeprazole without any control, and at the same time his magnesium can drop to the dangerous levels, and heart become unstable. And nobody links heart issue and sudden death with over-the-counter omeprazole.
And patient doesn't say anything to the doctor.
Of course, they don't know. First of all, that's over-the-counter. That does not require prescription. They just take, nothing will happen, even though prescriptions is necessary. That's it.
I also know from my personal experience from my father that stress, serious stress, huge problems like at work and the family and some, like he had a lot of issues. He survived Holocaust. He had issues at his workplace, and he was waiting for an apartment, for example, for a long time, and then he was told like he's not gonna get this apartment. Of course, he was like extremely upset, and the next day he got heart attack after this. No. So is it related stress? Level of stress?
Let's give you just possible scenario. Supposedly there is a young person who has young vessels, very young, and they are very pliable. Okay. So even though this person has stress, then nothing will happen, because even though that pumps there are a lot of adrenaline, heart starts pumping, vessels are pliable, so they distend.
So it doesn't necessarily
lead to shock. What if the person is 60-year-old who has underlying high blood pressure? What happens to his vessels? They become very stiff. So the same stress, the same adrenaline,
but different health condition.
Right, but the vessels are stiff. So blood pressure, instead of absorbing the shock from the stress, they bounce back stress to the heart.
And also like...
so basically when I'm driving it, when I'm driving it, there is something should be there. It's not going to happen because of nothing. Okay? And let me just finish my thought. The last thing I want to point out is that it's not necessarily heart attack who can kill. In my understanding, there is a very huge problem with the valves. Heart valves. It's not only heart muscle. Supposedly heart valves start failing because of the calcification in especially aortic valves, and the patient starts having heart condition and heart failure, and it usually happens not in the 40s, not in 60s, but 70s, 80s, but it does happen. And one of the plausible explanation for that is vitamin D.
Lack of vitamin D or excess of vitamin D?
Just inappropriate use. Because what happens is that vitamin D, as you know, creates elevated, it increases the calcium absorption. So in this case, calcium needs to go exactly where it is supposed to be, mostly in the bones. What if calcium doesn't know where to go? And instead of going to bones, it goes to heart vessels, to the brain vessels, and to heart valves. That's it. And the reason why calcium doesn't know where to go is because calcium, vitamin D cannot be taken alone. They should be taken with other vitamins that tells calcium where to go.
That's news for me, to be honest, about vitamin D.
Well, basically what I'm driving at, that, see, our body is perfect. Most of the time. So if something like sudden death or heart condition happens, there is something big should happen, usually. Because some small disturbance usually does not cause death.
So it's a combination of factors.
Whatever it is.
Underlying conditions,
it has to be big. It can't be nothing. And when somebody is telling me that there was a healthy man that suddenly dropped dead, well, I just think,
happens.
Well, but maybe it was not investigated properly. I'm telling you, the pill over the counter can do that. Not one pill, of course. Not one pill, but supposedly a person eats canned food without realizing that can create a huge problem. Or the person just takes over-the-counter medication. Or some antibiotics. You know, some antibiotics I don't prescribe no matter what. I just tell the patients I don't prescribe those antibiotics because...
Could you give example or you don't want to give
No, I don't want to give example. But some antibiotics can cause heart instability. Very commonly used. And that's why, you know...
What about salt and sugar stuff? I mean, talking about food and diet.
The salt, I told you that the salt is probably the most dangerous thing I've ever seen.
So it has relations.
It happens.
Heart condition.
Because high blood pressure. Why people have why people have heart conditions. The most common thing is high blood pressure. That's it. But think it this way. Blood pressure is one of the most important numbers in our body. If it goes up, something should be very wrong. Very wrong. It's not something small, something big is going.
So obviously from what you're saying, what we eat has a huge importance in the proper work of our heart, correct?
Yeah, because you need to know what happens and just watch it carefully. Because I told you, you remember our discussion that you need to just know your roots. If you don't know your roots, you might run into big trouble. And don't think that the genetics or human genetics follow the genetics of wheat. Think it this way. When they do agriculture stuff, right? They do genetic selection, they do the genetic, some stuffing, genetic changes, they do selection. So basically when driving it, the plant's genetics that were even 1,000 years ago is not the same as we have now on our peer fields.
And obviously also physical work, physical exercise, being fitness is very important also for our heart.
Yeah, but I'm trying to tell you, as soon as genetics has changed because of the selection, just forget about GMO.
Has nothing to
Forget about GMO. I'm not talking about GMO is obvious.
Yeah.
But forget, how about selection? Selection, it changed the genetics too. So how do you know that our genetics follow the same genetics what the plants are they are doing in the agriculture? There's just impossible. So basically what I'm trying to say that whatever we eat, you have to watch very carefully. Very carefully, like, you need to understand that even small things, big things usually they can see. It's, like have an enemy. That's not the most dangerous enemy who tells, I am your enemy. That's not an enemy because you know about it. The most dangerous enemy is who is saying, I'm your friend, but in fact, he's your enemy. Okay, so I tried to cover probably one of the most complicated stuff. Do you, did I change a little bit?
Little bit you changed my perspective, because from what I see it's a lot of other factors besides like just regular checkup with doctor or healthy diet. Like I see a lot of other, you need to have underlying conditions, you need to make sure that you're okay, health-wise. And with vitamin D, I never heard about it before.
Yeah, that's a very common thing, but just once again, what I'm trying to do always is to keep it simple, stupid. Don't make it too complicated. Just whatever you eat every day, but you need to go one by one. You can't miss sugar, salt, magnesium, potassium.
And smoke and drink at the same time.
Yeah, the same thing.
It will lead to troubles.
Don't make it complicated. Don't make it,
Don't make experiment on your own health,
Right.
It will lead to problems.
You just make it simple. Whatever is just in front of you. Don't try to look for something weird, toxins play a major role, yes. Toxins is a huge problem, but I think it's going to be a different topic. We have to, but by the way, even though with the toxins, people come and say, when they discover there's a lot of toxin in their body, they are asking, how can I get rid of the toxin? How can I clean up my body? And the first answer, nobody knows, almost
Kiwi.
No, kiwi, not kiwi. Stop exposure.
Okay.
Stop exposure. That's the first thing, but people think that they can continue to consume toxins and get rid of them by taking something else, the kiwi or whatever.
I mentioned kiwi because I'm from Belarus. It was a legend there that if you eat a lot of kiwi, you will never have cancer, thyroid cancer or any cancer, and it's healthy. It helps you to clean up your body.
I don't
mind.
No, I don't know if it's a myth or not, but I'm not against kiwi. But what I'm saying, if you don't stop exposure, no matter what you do, you have high blood pressure, you take medication. If you stop exposure to salt or toxins, did we talk about hypertension?
Yes.
There are three major reasons for high salt, weight, and
Salt
toxins.
image, yes.
Okay, unless those problems are solved, doesn't matter what you do.
Also, I wanted to talk about one more aspect of heart problems is like, I see it, I saw many examples, so-called overwork. If person working physical work or other work, like 60 hours a week, like rarely have person has vacations, like or rest, like enough rest at least, like sleep, etc. It can lead to a lot of health conditions, including heart problems. Am I right?
I think you are. However, I have to put my, my portion on it. So I think it's not stress only. Because think it about this way. If somebody works 60 hours a week, what is the reason for this?
Person needs more money maybe, like maybe large family, maybe.
But will he be able to do that? That's not what I have seen all the time. If somebody works 60 hours, there should be something that makes it possible. And unfortunately, I'm just telling you my experience. I'm not making any statements, not making any diagnoses. It should be the reason.
Cab driver. Very often.
Cab driver, 60 hours?
Not 60 hours.
Never seen.
Not 60 hours, but sometimes they work definitely more than 40 hours.
Yeah, but,
I know many people in car service working 12 hours a day.
No, I know, but
multiply 5.
That's not the reason.
Yeah.
What I have seen is that the main things is two: drugs and toxins. No drugs like cocaine, coffee. Yeah, sometimes.
I don't understand.
Coffee.
Person who works very long.
Cocaine is a stimulant. It stimulates.
No.
Coffee.
Coffee, yes, but not cocaine.
Cocaine. You can argue about cocaine or coffee or whatever it is, but I'm just trying to give you an idea. Or it could be mercury. Mercury is probably the most common thing. So somebody who has a lot of mercury, they're always up. Always up. They have tremendous ability to work. They don't get tired, because it's a lot of adrenaline. Whatever makes them high, makes them have high adrenaline, makes them very productive. Amphetamines, I forgot about the very big thing. Amphetamines.
What is it?
Well, that's the class of drugs that make people high and they can work a lot, and people sometimes they need to finish something big projects.
It's by prescription or you can buy it over the counter?
No, you know what? In this place we can buy whatever we want. It doesn't matter prescription or not. But I'm trying to give you an idea. Amphetamines is very well-known class of drugs that make you feel very productive. You can do whatever you can.
But your point is it can also lead to heart conditions.
Right. So who is overstimulated? Yeah, they're already very big danger. Cocaine users, it's a very common reason for heart attacks. Cocaine, strokes and heart attacks, yes, very common reason. I don't know if you heard about that, but cocaine and that's one of the big ones.
No, I did not hear about that. No.
Yeah, because it causes the contraction of the vessels. It's adrenaline and that's it. You don't need that much.
So it looks like all this stereotyping about heart attacks and strokes, they're just what it is, stereotyping, because what you're saying is very different from popular ideas why it's happening.
No, I'm telling you, just make it simple, stupid. Why do you think just complicated like stress test? Why don't you take a look what you eat every day when you go home and what you do?
More important than
Before that, I don't know, in Russia they say zriv korень. How do you say it in English,
Look at the roots.
Yeah, look at the roots, look at the roots. Okay, once again, make it simple, stupid. Don't make it complicated. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
You covered pretty much.
Yes, thank you very much. Listen, I learned a lot today and I will use it for my own life. And
okay, thank you very much and see you next time.
Thank you.